Whenever I tell people I study mathematics in school, I usually hear something along the lines of, "I could never do that, I'm terrible at math." The high school curriculum is dull and it requires a lot of memorization, so most students don't continue to pursue it after high school. Possibly because of these things, mathematics has developed a reputation for being an entirely logical and objective discipline, and in most people's perception of mathematics, there's no room for things like subjectivity or interpretation. In addition to this, the more advanced topics in mathematics are written with awful jargon and confusing notation. This makes the barrier of entry for math unreasonably high, and to me, that's really tragic because I find that math is extraordinarily beautiful. But I believe that it doesn't take years of studying to appreciate certain mathematical objects. Recently, within the past year or so, I've been obsessed with fractals. Essentially, a fractal is just a shape with infinite complexity, such that no matter how far you zoom in, you will always find irregularities in its form. Benoit B. Mandelbrot, who coined the term, said in his book, "Clouds are not spheres, mountains are not cones, coastlines are not circles, and bark is not smooth, nor does lightning travel in a straight line." These are all examples of fractals appearing in nature, but you can also find them in the pure world of math, and this is what Mandelbrot was most well known for, the Mandelbrot set. It is itself a fractal, and it is constructed by a simple process. Basically, for every pixel on the screen, take its location and put it into some kind of mathematical function whose output is another location on the screen. We then repeat this process over and over again and see where the point landed. There are three possibilities for its final destination. The first one is that it is far from its initial location and it will never return. 2. It is converging to some other location and will keep getting closer. Or 3. It is bouncing around neatly in a cycle of different locations. If the point is far away, we color it white, and if it isn't, we color it black. We have a computer perform this process for all the pixels on the screen, and the result is the Mandelbrot set. The important part here is how many times you repeat this process. This animation here is showing the first 40 iterations of the function. You can also add color to the fractal based on how long it takes for the function to explode out to infinity. After using another equation to smooth out the colors, this is what it looks like. We can also zoom in to see its hidden geometry unfold. Fractals are, in some sense, the antithesis of the geometry and calculus students learn in high school. The topics taught in high school classes concern highly idealized shapes. All polygons have perfectly straight lines and all circles are perfectly smooth in the realm of high school geometry. But in fractal geometry, no matter how far you zoom in, you will always find more jagged edges and sharp turns, and nothing is perfectly smooth. What's even more interesting is that complicated fractals can be described by very simple processes. The Mandelbrot set is an example of this. That was just the fractal for the equation f of z equals z squared plus z initial, but there are lots of other equations that generate interesting geometry as well. I find these fractals absolutely fascinating, and I think that they can be appreciated without necessarily understanding all of the math behind them, so I decided to share them with other people. I run a Twitter account called One Complex Fractal a Day, where I code a fractal every day and then post it on Twitter. The software I use to code the fractals is developed by Matt Henderson, who also makes amazing math visualizations. He shouted me out on Twitter, and in 1 month I've gained over 700 followers on that account. This is a short time lapse of me coding and animation. I personally use a coding tool called smoothstep.io, developed by Matt Henderson, who is currently an AI researcher at Apple, to make these fractals. My personal process starts out with some kind of inspiration. Usually it's the function I choose that matters most, but colors and animations are also super important things to think about. I try to find regions to zoom in on that are really surprising, or try to mold the fractal in some way to make it interesting. So far, it has been an insightful learning experience, and one that I enjoy. I have a wide range of follower demographics. I have a lot of mathematics and computer science professors who follow me. There's some people who enjoy mathematics just for fun, and occasionally I find people who know nothing about fractals. I have a lot more multilingual followers than I would have expected to have, which is also very cool. To me, it's a lot more gratifying to be followed by someone who is newly amazed by fractals than a mathematics professor who knows a lot more about the subject than I do. All in all, this hobby is awesome. It provided me with a platform to demonstrate to other people that math is beautiful. It's a learning experience for me, and at the same time, it's also my creative outlet. Up next is an interview with John Minor, a student at University of Portland who has been up to date with this project since day one. Alright, do you want to do a short introduction about yourself?
Hi, I'm John Minor. I also go by JJ. I go to University of Portland, class of 2022, junior, and I'm a bio major.
You've been following my Twitter account ever since like the day I created it, and I just wanted to ask you which fractal, or if you have one, which one's your favorite?
Yeah, there's actually a lot of fractals that are my favorite. Overall, I thought the whole Twitter page is really cool, but one that caught my eye the most is definitely the pirate ship one. I
Yeah.
thought that was really cool because just the image it was able to create was pretty, like, the detail of it was pretty good and amazing.
Yeah. Okay. Do you think you had a positive, neutral, or negative experience with math in high school or middle school?
I would say I had a neutral experience, just because it was both positive and negative. It was definitely positive in the sense that it was rewarding, at the end of the day, but I would also say it was negative when you have to go through all the painstaking studying and just trying to understand certain concepts. It could, like I said, it could get really tedious, and long nights could definitely come out of it. But at the end of the day, overall, it was pretty nice. But I would just have to stay neutral for that.
In conclusion, I think that everyone, even those who didn't connect with mathematics the same way I did, can enjoy the beauty of fractals. Mathematics is not a welcoming subject, but I think that the fractals bridge the gap between the rigor of mathematics and aesthetically pleasing art.